So this is Apollo. This is the database that I always recommend, and most of people that we work with use. So this is exactly how we go about kind of leveraging this this database. So there's so many attributes that we can look for. So I have a couple examples. I have niches that I want us to focus on. So law firms in Texas, and assuming that we have a marketing, like a marketing solution that we're going to sell them. SaaS, so software as a service companies in San Francisco. In this case, we'll be selling them engineering or some type of computer science product. And credit unions in the East Coast have definitely again marketing. So let's say that we want to target lawyers. One of the first things that we can do in this database is super, super important is to say, okay, great. Where do we want to target? Texas. So we can come to location, and there's two kind of things. There's contact or account HQ. Especially right now, I always recommend saying account HQ because people are traveling, because of COVID, they're all over. So we can say Texas, US. So that's Texas and in the US, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then what we want to do is come down to industry. We want to say, hey, law practices. Law enforcement's a little different. That's more police. So law practices. So
Mm-hmm.
these are people in Texas that are lawyers, right? So this is everyone. But we don't want some of those bigger ones. So let's say that we're looking at law firms in Texas, but we only want to really target people that are at smaller companies. So we go up here to employees, and we go, okay, they want to target under 50 people. Great. So you saw the link, the list just shrink down, right?
Yes, yes.
Then what we want to do is we want to say, and often like we already have personas built out, okay? For the one that's Nico, I want to talk to founders, CEOs. That's typically like who I want to sell to. VP
Mm-hmm.
of business development, all that. So the nice thing is you don't have to worry about titles or anything. In the future, we can make more. But for right now, we'll just press the Nico one. Boom. List just went from thousands of people down to 217.
Yes.
So this is still a really good list, right? A really, really good list of people. Small
Yeah.
enough so that when we write emails, we know they're in Texas. So if we can't find something to customize the email about, at least we can say something about Texas or something that's happening. But again, this is actually really good. So do you see how this one says Maryland, Alabama, all that stuff, San Diego. So these, so what I would do is I would still, let's do, I would actually change this now so that, do you see how we went down? So I would start with companies HQ, but then the actual founders themselves are in Texas. You see how everyone, like Alabama is gone and all that. You can always go
Yes.
to the last page. The last page often has the not so good ones. So we'll still have to mind and scrub this list, but that's a pretty good indication for like that, right? So let's clear that and then do another one. So SaaS companies in San Francisco. So the cool thing about databases like this is Francisco, California. So this is the city, and this is just the, when it says area, that usually just means like there's a city and there's a little bit over
Mm-hmm.
it, right?
Okay.
So we can say Bay Area, okay? Then let's say that this engineering company, they want to target kind of bigger companies. So let's do this. Maybe that's their target, right?
Mm-hmm.
When understanding a little bit more about the SaaS product, we noticed that it's better for companies that are doing a certain amount of revenue. So then we can actually filter by revenue. Okay. Maybe because they're in San Francisco, it's a huge place for funding. So maybe again, we can then say, okay, they have to have had, let's say, $1 million to be in this list. Okay.
Okay.
Maybe with this engineering thing, we actually don't want to sell to like CEOs and stuff. So if we want to change the title ever, we just come here and go Chief Technology Officer, and then Chief Information Officer. Maybe those are the two ones that we want to go after. I always want my list under 200. That's what I prefer. Because now, even though, again, if we don't have any of the things on their websites or anything that we can use for contextual emails, we can at least use like, hey, they're in San Francisco, they've raised money, we can bring that up. Okay?
Oh, okay.
Any questions so far?
None so far, because I know that I can review this video, right? Because you will send this to me. Yes.
Absolutely. So let's do something a little harder. So now we have credit unions, which are kind of like banks in the East Coast. So we actually don't have a city or anything. So this is kind of going to be hard, but we can do it. Okay.
Yes.
So let's say for this marketing product, we actually don't care about the employee size, but we really care about credit unions. So we can come in here and say industry, that, and banking, and then they really don't do bank, investment banking, but we'll add it just in case there's a couple, right? So for this case, the East Coast is really, really big, really, really big. So let's look at selecting, a couple of states. So see New York, North Carolina. So let's do New York, New Jersey. That's usually where a lot of money is, right?
Yes.
So we can go, actually, I forgot there's a region. So we can say maybe East. Let's just see, maybe our job is, nope, our job is not that easy. New York. And then New Jersey, okay? So then we want to say credit unions. So if we go here and scroll by industry, you'll see the industries that we selected here.
Yes.
But the cool thing is we can go to keywords and see how the database classifies them. So do you see where this one says fintech?
I'm sorry?
Do you see how it says fintech right there? FINTCH right here? Underneath. So that means that they're actually a software company. They just happen to be in the financial world, right? See how this one says technology?
Yes.
That means it's in this website. And so these are actually not really good fits.
Yeah.
So we can actually then cut these down and say, okay, let's search for, just move this to companies. Okay. Say credit union. I remember we just gotta make sure that we change HQ. It's in New York and then New Jersey. Okay. Just significantly lower, right?
Yes.
You can see that they're classified so many different ways. So this one, even though it says credit union, it's the Times. So this is actually a newspaper. So what we can say here is we don't actually want this company.
Yes.
So we can come to where it says industry, company keywords, and exclude, right? So we don't actually want to put credit union here because they might not call themselves credit union. Like most of these do, but not all of them. So we want to exclude print and online media right here. We'll add that. Boom, that one's gone. So that's awesome. And you see a lot of them are like classified as different things, banking, financial services, but now they're less technology focused, right?
Yes.
But let's say that we want to make sure. So we can say software. Okay, a couple of them are gone. This list is still a little bigger than I would want it, but that's okay. So what we can say is, so investment management. So these are actually credit unions, but to bring this list down, let's just say New York is out and New Jersey's in. So boom, that's pretty close to our 200. So this would be a pretty decent list to go through, right? But let's say that we weren't that lucky and that we were going after New York, right? And we've like applied all these filters and it's still too big. Like 500 is too big. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
What you can actually do, in this case, we're going after like marketing. So let's say that they have to have a chief marketing officer, right? So you can go down here to where it says show more filters, employees by department. Okay. And we say marketing executive. This one doesn't have a CMO, chief marketing officer, but marketing executive is like a CMO. So if we add marketing executive 00, this means that there's 0 marketers or marketing officers there. We apply it, it's still too big. So maybe what we can do is we can say, okay, we don't want anyone in marketing. So we lost 100 people. That's pretty good, right? Really not doing
Yes.
much. So let's say that, okay, our marketing solution uses something like WordPress for websites, right? Boom, just by adding the word WordPress, we just got the list there.
Yes.
So now this list is perfect for credit unions in New York, right? They use WordPress and don't have any marketers on staff at all. So do you kind of see how we like use the database to narrow it down to try to get it under 200 for each one of these niches?
Yes. Yes. I got it. I understood.
Awesome. Any questions about like where I was pressing or like my thought process or anything like that?
I understand all the process about the filters.
Great, great.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll just do a quick review and then we'll end the video just so that you can kind of know about all the filters, right?
Mm-hmm.
So really all of these you can ignore, okay? Company info is probably where we're going to spend the most time. So this is like,
Okay.
you know, if we have a specific list of companies, you can add them here. Most likely ignore this. Location is super important, like you saw. Amount of people at companies.
Mm-hmm.
Employees by department. And this can be any department. The industry, we used a lot. This one has so many of them. See how there's so many, right? This code is usually for more government stuff, so you can ignore it mostly.
Mm-hmm.
Title, this is the titles. There's hundreds of titles there, the actual people you're going after.
Mm-hmm.
Technology, right? There's again hundreds of them there, but good to use. Revenue, we use a lot. Funding, this is if the company got any funding.
Mm-hmm.
Founding year, so if we only want to target companies that started in 2019, we can do that. And then you can see how it updated. Alexa
Okay.
ranking, really not that important. Languages, again, not as important. You know, make sure, you know, worst case scenario, you just start English on there. It should be fine. Retail locations, this is more so if we're targeting people who have more than one location, or person we're going after has more than one location. So let's say they have 10 to 100. Yeah. Job postings, that's the one we used a lot, right? They're hiring as of yesterday, for instance. That might be important for really up-to-date things. And then engagement, these, again, you can ignore. Actually, like most of these you can ignore. So really, it's focusing on company info.
Info, okay.
Great. So I'm gonna pause the video there. And then